Welcome, Ravens. Today we're going to travel all the way to the Philippines to try to figure out if justice has been served to a beautiful, bright 16-year-old who was tortured by a man who had catfished her online. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. I want to also give a quick shout out to all of my subscribers all over the world. I do appreciate it. If you haven't become a subscriber, all you got to do is just like and subscribe at the bottom. And I do want to apologize for not being able to put out as many bonus episodes as I like. I had to have oral surgery, so I was out for a little bit because I couldn't speak right. But luckily, I was able to continue to do the podcast ahead of time. So I was able to schedule a lot of those. Unfortunately, though, I didn't have enough to do some bonus episodes. So for those that are premium subscriber, I do apologize to that. And hopefully everything will get back to normal here shortly. Hey, Ravens. Welcome to the Ravens Knock. I'm your host, Amy. I want to thank you guys for liking, sharing, and subscribing, and also referring your friends. If you're not a premium member, you can do so for $7 a month, which is like a cup of coffee. It does help the show out as podcasting is not free. And you get ad-free content, bonus episodes that no one else gets. And with that said, let's go ahead and get started. Please note that the content of this recording may contain graphic material, including torture, and explicit language may be used. The opinions are of my own and may be offensive to some listeners. They are my opinions. Everyone has them, and if you do not agree, then ignore them like an adult and move on. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Hey guys, welcome to the Ravens Knock. I'm your host, Amy.
And I'm Jamie.
Welcome. It seems like it's been a long time when it actually has not, but today, again, we're going to the Philippines to talk about a 16-year-old girl who was absolutely beautiful, had her whole life in front of her, but it was cut short by a man who lied and who decided to go a little catfishing.
Catfisher, another catfisher?
Absolutely. Yeah. I ran across this story when I was looking into another story.
Oh.
I was looking through court cases and actually saw this and never heard it. And it's horrible. You know, this needs to go everywhere because this is what's out here. So I'll go ahead and get started. On March the 11th, 2019, a half-naked body was found on a vacant lot in Bangkok. Half of her face was gone, while her organs in her neck area were removed.
All of her organs?
Some of her organs, just in her neck area.
Oh.
She also suffered 30 stab wounds.
My God, there's a lot of passion behind that.
Yeah. 16-year-old Christine Lee Solwanen was strangled, tied, raped, and her face was scalded with acid.
Wow.
The medical examiner said that they examined her head, hands, and genitals to determine if she had been raped. They used micro lenses to blow up the images of the injuries. Findings on the genital examination showed extensive and massive abrasions on the labia or the outer folds of the vagina. Second-degree lacerations and hematomas or swelling due to blood clots were also found inside her private parts, indicating forcible penetration. He said they did not recover any semen, but local crime laboratories collected samples during the first examination on Christine's body. He clarified that they could not determine how many times she was violated based on her injuries. The injuries in her vagina were fresh about 6 hours before she died.
Mm.
He said that the teenager was already dead, thank God,
when her facial skin was removed. He said there was a possibility that sulfuric acid was used. The dark brown and black burn marks on her facial muscles, gums, and eyeballs indicated acid burns.
You reckon that he might have done that to think he was going to get rid of the whole body and he didn't have enough acid?
Well, I think he done that to prolong the identification process.
That makes sense. I wouldn't have thought about that.
Yeah. However, she was quickly identified because she, as you'll see throughout the story, she's reported missing right off the bat.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, she's 16, so
Right.
somebody's missing her.
And he only removed the bottom part of her clothes, not the top.
Ah.
So that was another indicator because they knew what she was wearing. The examination also showed animal and rodent bites. An animal might have ripped out her tongue and her esophagus when she was dumped in an open area. They're not sure if an animal done that or if he done that. There were indications that Christine was strangled with a rope, and a right handprint was visible on the left side of her neck. And deep rope marks on her wrist also indicated that she was tied and that she struggled to set herself free.
Oh, God love her heart. That's horrible.
Now, the medical examiner thinks 3 people at least were involved in her killing based on the wounds on her body. So I kind of dug into that a little more to try to figure out where he came to this conclusion. Apparently, the knife wounds were from 3 different instruments. So I'm assuming that that's where he thinks at least 3 people. However,
well, some guy could have brought 3 knives.
Exactly.
I mean, that's...
or one of them could have been a knife, another one could have been any sharp instrument.
Correct. Yeah.
She was seen wearing the shirt she had on the day before, but she was half naked without any undergarments on. And did you hear me when I said her face was skinned to the bone until half of her skull was exposed?
Jesus.
That's how much degradation was done to her face.
Wow.
Now, she had went to church, and when she was supposed to come home after she had went out with some friends. Her mother was so worried when she didn't return home that she called the national police because it was definitely out of character for her. Her mother was frantic. Some witnesses stated that they saw Christine with 3 men on the night she went missing. Christine was described as kind-hearted. She was dedicated to her education, and she had a beautiful smile. She enjoyed church and spending time with her friends, and she rarely missed a church service, so that Sunday was a normal Sunday for her.
Mm-hmm.
She dressed up in her church uniform. She headed out with her rosary in her hand. After church, she was supposed to meet with her friends and then head home before dark, but when she didn't return home, her mom called her friends only to find out that she never went with them.
Wow.
Now, the entire community began looking for her, starting with her family, her friends, and from church. But soon, even strangers would join in. And I can't express how much it must mean to families when total strangers come out to help them in their time of need. I know that if, anything were to happen in my life like that, I would definitely appreciate anybody taking their time.
Yeah.
Because time is important. But this was a case of social media catfishing that had gone wrong. She was only 16 years old. She had such a long life to live, only for some pervert to cut it short out of some sadistic fetish or fantasy he had. And I don't understand that. Like, do they actually think that 10 minutes, 15 minutes of getting their fetish on, do they think about, is that worth ending someone's entire life and risking my life in prison for the rest of my life?
I don't think they think it through at all.
Just for that less than half hour, whatever.
It's about instant gratification, power, and control.
I don't understand. It's not worth it at all. Before her murder, it was reported that the unidentified boyfriend of Christine had allegedly used a fake Facebook account to meet her. Investigators discovered that the suspect had posed as another man on Facebook trying to woo her.
Wow.
On March the 11th, 2019, she was found dead in a vacant lot with multiple stab wounds and a cut on her face. Of course, the autopsy revealed that her tongue, trachea, esophagus, part of her neck, and right ear were missing. Now, Jonas Martel Benyo was arrested for the murder of a 62-year-old farmer in a nearby city, but he denied involvement in the killing of Christine. But the police said the style of that killing was strikingly similar to that in Christine's killing.
Interesting.
The murder suspect, who's identified as John, was arrested at his home on March 16th, 2019, based on a Facebook Messenger conversation. According to the Department of Social Welfare and Development, Christine's ex-boyfriend, known only as John, is the one who killed her. Then obviously he can be charged in court. John submitted to the plea bargain procedure that was made against him. The forensic investigation said that Christine was killed between 6 and 7 p.m. on March 10th. And on March 10th, they have CCTV footage that shows Christine walking with a man in the early morning. And this is the last known footage of him. Authorities said Christine broke up with John a few days before she was killed, adding that they are looking at jealousy as a possible motive. The Philippine National Police had earlier said that at least 3 people could have committed the murder. However, the allegations against the suspects were unfounded, according to the suspect's relatives, who claimed that he was playing basketball with his friends and doing housework on the day of his murder. She believes that her son is innocent, of course, and instead named another culprit. The suspect's mother added that her son would have fled if he had committed the murder. Now, he himself opened the door to the police, which had filed a search warrant against him. And according to the NBI, which is the National Bureau of Investigation, they based their suspicions on an eyewitness testimony. In the CCTV footage, the victim was seen walking briskly away from the church, followed by the man at 6:12, which is contrary to what the mother said. She said he was playing basketball. According to the teenager's friend who sells food near the basketball court, he bought a balut, B-A-L-U-T. I don't know what that is.
I don't either.
But he bought it around 7 or 8 p.m. and then went home. So the mother saying he went to the basketball game. A friend of his that was at the basketball game said that he sold food to him. However, he is caught on CCTV footage at the time he's supposed to be at that basketball game. So who do you think's lying? I'm sorry, but videos don't lie.
No, not at all. Wow.
The NBI reviewed the Facebook Messenger exchanges between him and Christine, and they found several deleted messages. They were also looking for evidence that he was using a fake account to lure Christine to meet him on March 10th. Now, he went under, he had drug testing, but it was negative. And according to the NBI, the suspect was Christine's ex-boyfriend and was charged with murder. So they charged him. However, he did not confess to the crime. And Christine's mother is convinced that the suspect and other accomplices committed the crime. And the PMP declared the case closed on March 19th, but the police will continue to search for the other 2 suspects. And that teenager is in the custody of DSWD. The killing sparked controversy and, political debate over the proposed reinstatement of the death penalty, which I totally get that, because that's a case that I believe grants
absolutely,
a good death case. I mean, she's been raped, she's been murdered, and then, brutally.
Yeah.
Because she has, those wounds.
And she was lured.
Yeah, and then she has stab wounds. And then if that wasn't enough, let me just pour acid on your face.
Right.
I mean, why? Yeah, they speculated that was because maybe he was trying to, delay the process of identification, but she has fingerprints, DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, it's not 1982,
Right.
Yeah,
it can be found out.
I think he done that on purpose.
Absolutely.
I think he wanted to watch the flesh melt
I think you're
off
right.
of her body.
And that's heinous.
Mm-hmm.
He deserves to die for that one.
Absolutely.
In fact, it'd be...
It should
I don't
be a
know if
public
that's even
hanging.
enough. Yeah, I mean, it should... Yeah.
Public lynching, man. Now, the public attorney's office forensic team confirmed on April 2nd, 2019, that Christine had been raped, obviously. The team found bleeding in her private parts. They also discovered that acid was poured on her face before being skinned.
Wow.
It was found that Christine had been strangled to death with a rope, and the forensic team suspected that at least 3 people were involved, so they think. And on April 9th, the murder suspect, Renato Lenz, he was the one that committed that murder of the 62-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
He was arrested by police, where he made an extrajudicial confession to her murder, but entered a not guilty plea to the murder charges.
How does that work?
I don't know. I don't understand. I did it, but when I get to court, I'm going to say I didn't.
And you're allowed to do that.
Yeah. He said his crime was inspired by the Momo challenge, which was popular at that time.
What is that?
You got me.
M-O-M-O?
M-O-M-O.
Did you look it up?
No, why don't you do that?
It's a good idea. Let me do that.
Okay. And the police on Thursday presented the self-confessed perpetrator in the brutal killing of 16-year-old Christine, detailing how the suspect ended the life of the teenager and peeling off her skin using a pair of scissors. Okay, so you got knives, you got scissors. That doesn't necessarily mean that there was 2 people there. Just the fact that one had scissors and he had a knife too, And of course, for all of you that don't know, catfishing is the use of other people's profile other than your own, usually to lure someone into a relationship. So he pretended to be someone he wasn't.
And groomed her.
Yeah. He was 43 years old. He admitted to the crime, saying that he duped Christine into believing that he was a younger looking guy that she met on Facebook.
Wow, so the Momo Challenge is a hoax and an internet urban legend that was rumored to spread through social media and other outlets. It was reported that children and adolescents were being harassed by a user named Momo to perform a series of dangerous tasks, including violent attacks, self-harm, harming others, and suicide. Despite claims that the phenomenon had reached worldwide proportions, in July 2018, the number of actual complaints was relatively small, and many law enforcement agencies have not been able to confirm that anyone was harmed as a direct result of it. Moreover, the Momo Challenge sparked global panic and prompted urgent warnings from authorities and child safety advocates. Reports of children encountering Momo's disturbing messages circulated widely, causing heightened fears among parents and caregivers. Now, that's coming from wikipedia.org.
Mm-hmm.
When you look up the Momo Challenge, just to give credit where I just read that from.
Okay.
It says the internet scare was discussions among YouTube commentators about a new internet phenomenon promoting self-harm similar to the Blue Whale Challenge, which surfaced in July of 2018 as well. They use, it was done to children in South America, India, and prompted by WhatsApp messages. So...
Well,
that
thank you
is
for that.
the Momo Challenge.
Well, now everybody knows. My goodness, I'm glad my kids are grown and I don't have to monitor their online activity. Jeez.
There was a representation of a Momo character appeared in the popular game Minecraft. Do you know how many kids are playing Minecraft?
My nephews play Minecraft.
Yeah. So then there's that.
So this guy became obsessed with Christine and, of course, later killed her when they met on March 9th. He was facing charges of illegal possession of firearms and a gun ban violation after they seized a .45 caliber pistol in his possession when the police went to his house on a Tuesday. Police plan to file murder charges for Christine's death once all the pieces of evidence were consolidated. He said he only knew Christine on Facebook using the fake account CJ Diaz. The suspect dated the victim, he said, and what followed was a series of exchanges of romantic messages. When they finally met on March 9th at the Sacred Heart of Jesus Parish Church grounds.
Oh, wow.
He identified himself as CJ Diaz, which shocked Christine because he was nowhere near the pictures that he had posted on Facebook. They later argued until they reached the vacant lot where she was found dead.
Oh, he killed her that day.
He said, I stabbed her with a pair of scissors and peeled off her skin so she wouldn't be recognized.
She probably invited him to church with her, and he showed up.
Yeah, and they were going to meet, you know. I mean, honestly,
was mom and dad not at church with this 16-year-old girl?
No, obviously not. And I'm sure they regret that. However, I mean, you're a 16-year-old, you're on Facebook, somebody sends you a request. They got friends, they're good looking. Okay, why not?
And you're 16.
Yeah.
You're not gonna think as rationally as an adult
You're
would
not going
about
to think
that.
a rape and murder, over this good-looking guy who just sends you a friend request who's the same age as you.
And as a parent, if you've got a 16-year-old daughter who attends church regularly, doesn't get in trouble,
You're
going to give her a little more rope than you would your kid that's acting out all the time.
Right, but even if your kid was acting out, I wouldn't have caught this.
No.
I mean, seriously.
No.
And then, so they plan to meet. Well, where's you would think, almost safest place to meet?
At church.
Church.
Yeah.
I wonder if he didn't sit in church that whole entire time waiting on it to be over. But,
And that would build her trust.
Mm-hmm. But,
And he knew that because he was in his 40s.
yeah, so I think if I had to just guess how this went down, I would assume that he went to church, spotted her, watched her throughout the whole service. When church was over, as she was walking home, walking to meet this guy, is when he showed up. He had to show up where she was alone.
Oh, yeah.
And then,
And he knew when she saw him that he was
going to get a reaction that was not what he wanted.
Yeah, because he catfished her, and it was just blatant, clearly.
Yeah,
so she wouldn't have known him from Adam.
Yeah, people catfish for a reason.
If
it's
he was
because they've
sitting
got
in
issues themselves. Or
Yeah.
they're ugly or heavy
Basement
or
dwellers.
yeah, or whatever. I mean, whatever you find unattractive, and I'm not saying people that are heavy are unattractive. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that people that are heavy a lot of times view themselves as unattractive.
Yeah.
And, or they're bald.
Yeah.
And so, again, they think, well, I'm not that attractive because I don't have any hair and,
it's always a
I've got
self-esteem
beer gut.
issue.
Yeah, I mean, everybody is attractive in their own way. You just got to find that person,
Mhm.
And then sometimes I wonder what some people are thinking. But then,
Well, that's a loaded rabbit hole to go down.
I know, then you meet the person and it's like, you were good looking 5 minutes ago until you opened your mouth.
Yeah.
And now you ugly.
STFU, please.
Yes. He admitted everything. He said he was alone when he killed her. He also admitted that he was high on drugs and added he got jealous of Christine's boyfriend.
So she already had a boyfriend?
Yeah, which makes me wonder, if that were the case, why would she meet up with another man or another boy, per se, unless she was trying to get him to come to church
Maybe.
or being friendly like that?
Did they have any like text message records that they could go back on?
It said, now right up above, I just read, they had several romantic
Exchanges.
series of exchanges of romantic messages is
But
what
I
it
wonder if
said.
that's before she got a boyfriend. You know how fast these these kids do.
Oh, yeah.
And how fast we did, when we're in puppy
Lock
love.
and drop. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be like, oh, he was looking at this other girl, so I broke up with him. Kind of,
And then next
16-year-old
week you're back.
mentality. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So that could have been the dynamic, and she just like, well, if he's going to do it, then I'm going to go here and blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah.
That's very possible.
Yeah.
He said he learned how to peel the skin off of his victim through social media sites like Facebook, YouTube, and the Momo Challenge video. I'm sorry. I mean, who YouTubes how to peel somebody's face off?
I don't know, but if you
Jesus.
load a Google search for the Momo Challenge and you look at the YouTube videos of it, it's very disturbing. The character that they use on the front of the challenge.
Is it the white thing with the dark eyes?
The wild eyes and the black hair.
Yeah,
she
and the
looks
white,
like
a really white face
with a real wide
Okay, and I think I know who you're
mouth.
talking- Yeah.
Yeah, it don't even look human. It's demonic looking.
Yeah. After peeling off her face, he took her bag and brought it with him that had her skin in it. And he threw that a few feet from the crime scene.
Wow.
And then he had the balls to ask for forgiveness from her family. He said his conscience is bothering him. Well, sir,
That's a little after the fact.
I really hope that your conscience kills you. And it does. Sorry.
Good.
Sorry.
Good.
That's a... Sorry, guys. I'm
sorry,
sorry.
not sorry.
5 days after the body was found, the National Bureau of Investigation arrested her ex-boyfriend, who supposedly also had a hand in the crime. So the 17-year-old, too.
What?
Of course, he denied the allegation. The NBI, however, filed murder charges against the teenager who was under the custody of a home care facility that does social welfare and development. In a separate interview, he said that the case that the agency filed against the 17-year-old would go on despite the arrest of the 62-year-old, or not the 62, the 40-something-year-old that killed the 62-year-old.
Yeah.
They said the arrest of another suspect will not affect the case, that it would be up to the prosecutor's office to decide based on the evidence that they present. And, of course, they welcomed another arrest. The police were concerned after his personnel received several messages and read posts on social media concerning suspicious personalities that they believed were involved in Christine's murder, including pictures of the area where she might have been killed. But they said the information had yet to be confirmed, especially since those who posted the messages did not identify any of the suspects. I advise the public to avoid believing in messages being posted on social media, they said. On our part, we are thoroughly verifying every information that we receive to avoid arresting the wrong persons in the case. We want to make sure that once we arrest a suspect, that it will be supported by evidence, and let's just wait until the long arm of the law will get them. I ain't heard that statement in a long time.
Yeah.
The long arm of the law.
I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that it definitely was 3 people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, but just the way it sounds, and
I think
the way
it was
I feel
one
about
person.
It, yeah, I think it was
honestly
one
think.
person with 3 knives or 3.
Whatever.
Yeah, that's why that's how I feel about it. But then again, I'm not the investigator, and I'm not hand in hand, obviously. But I mean, it just sounds to me like they got their guy.
I mean, if you got a person that already committed another murder, and this was very similar to that.
It's just crazy to me that 3 people would all decide together that they were going to do something that wild, heinous. That seems like a very passionate stab 30 times. Like, there's a lot of anger behind that, and 3 people are
And
not
melt
going
your
to
face off.
Yeah, like 3 people are not going to feel that much in alignment with that much anger
Right.
toward a 16-year-old girl. I just don't buy
worst
that.
case, I think, if that were the case, she might have been gang raped and maybe stabbed, or maybe her
And then
throat
one
slit and
person-
then left.
And then one person stayed behind and did the rest because he was the craziest one of the bunch. That's the only way I could buy that.
I still don't.
It just don't seem right, does it? It feels like off to me that there's 3 people involved.
Yeah. I don't think there's 3 people involved. And honestly, my gut tells me that it's not the 17-year-old either.
Same. That's how I feel about it.
You know, I think they got the right person.
Yeah.
And the 43-year-old
Yeah.
who, you know, was catfish. I think they got the right person.
It just
when
feels
they got
like
him.
that would be the MO of somebody who would catfish, you know. But
Yeah. Why? Why would you catfish somebody and then meet them? And I mean, it's not a long shot. They end up dead.
we're never
Well,
going to know.
You've
I mean-
already lied.
Right.
You know, you've already lied about who you were, how old you were, what you look like. You've lied about every single thing about you, for one,
Mhm.
in order to pull off this catfish.
Right.
So
You are a bad seed. Like,
when you said you didn't do it, like, why should we believe you now? I mean,
Right.
what, you know?
exactly. Oh, have mercy on me now. Brr.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever.
Well, I did it, but when I get to the court, it's not guilty.
Yeah, go the hell on.
Yeah.
Die.
Yeah. On May 24th, 2020, the main suspect in the killing was found hanging lifeless inside the comfort room of his assigned detention cell. He was immediately rushed to the hospital, but he was declared dead on arrival.
DOA.
Yeah. And they confirmed that he did not have any visitors once he was brought to the jail facility. So I think his conscience really did get to him,
I hope so.
and he just couldn't live with it anymore. Of course, he took the coward's way out. I really hate that because I
Mhm.
really want a bastard to suffer.
Yeah, I
You
hope
know?
he did.
But now the Bureau of Jail Management and Penology.
I like that word, but it
Mm.
don't sound lawful.
Yeah, it don't sound nothing like a jail, does it? They were waiting on an autopsy report to determine his actual cause of death and if any foul play was involved. An investigation was also underway into his death. Now, you know, he was arrested and admitted to the crime in 2019. During the police investigation and media interviews, he claimed responsibility for the crime, but obviously pled not guilty to the murder charge during his arraignment. He was supposed to attend trial last April, but the hearing was canceled due to COVID. Now, he ended up taking, obviously, the coward's way out, like so many do. I mean, he couldn't man up to his own actions. Nothing more was ever said or that I found in regards to those others that may have been involved. And I wonder if there are others, if they will ever be brought to justice, you know. And then on here I put in my notes, I wonder if there was more than just one. I don't think there was more than just one. I mean, regardless, I think justice always prevails, even if it's not on earth, then after. I do hope her family can find some peace and are able to move on or move forward. I hate to say move on because
You never
it's like
move
you're
on.
forgetting, you know, and you're not. I mean, I couldn't imagine losing a child, and what's worse is losing one this way.
Yeah.
I mean, you lose one to sickness, that's one. An accident, that's a little harder.
Hopefully they were able to go forward, maybe create a support group for other people and to raise awareness for
this catfishing deal.
really, you know, paying attention to what our kids are doing. I mean, they do not make the best decisions at that age group. They're not
Mhm.
capable. We're supposed to be training them how to do
Right,
that.
right. There's a reason why they're not declared an adult at 16 years old,
Yeah.
you know. But I couldn't imagine having my child being murdered. And the worst part of it is the pain and suffering that was caused during it. You know, like, as a mother, I'm sure she wonders, did she suffer a lot?
And,
You know, did she
looking
go
back,
quick?
Yeah, and looking back on the fact that the last time that she looked at her daughter's face intact,
Yeah.
that was the last time she was going to see her baby.
And nobody knows that.
No.
You never know. This might be the very last time I get to look at you and talk to you and we be together, because tomorrow I might not get up in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You never know. I do know that should you believe in God, you must also believe in evil, I think.
Mm-hmm.
You know, call that a demon, the devil, Satan, whatever you want. But good can't all be on this earth. For without evil, why would you need God at all?
Exactly.
And that is the point God made to me one day when I was on my knees begging for an answer as to why he allows bad things happen to good people or children.
Mm-hmm.
I really struggled with that. And I'll repeat it. The world cannot be all good, because if everything was good, you would never need a God,
Yeah.
you know? And so there are evil. I mean, evil is everywhere in this world, you know, and it's a constant battle. But I do hope maybe for someone out there that can be somewhat of a comfort for you that maybe had the same question.
Yeah.
Because all these stories, you know, I read, she was a good person, lit up the room, you know, big bright smile, you know, great at school, you know, or, you know, she done this for this person or this it's never a bad person that gets murdered, it doesn't seem like.
Not in the stories we've done.
You know? I mean, I'm sure there's people bad out there that gets murdered.
Right.
But it's just hard. Especially when you got kids.
And the only thing we can do on this earth is to embrace the time that we have with our people.
Yeah.
Pay attention to our kids. Pay attention to our people.
Yeah,
keep your circle. Keep your circle intact.
Pay attention to the people in your circle, man. If they are weird, you know, or if they stay cramped up in a room all day long, they're on that computer all day long, you might want to check in on them and kind of see what they do all day long on that computer. Of course, I'm not sure that they're going to say, oh, look, this is what I do. I'm a pedophile. Look at all these, you know.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, be a little bit more aware.
In this age of technology, I think we've gotten caught up in technology so much that we trust it a little too much and too early.
Absolutely. And I mean, the police are doing the best job that they can as far as trying to catch traffickers and stuff.
But they're outnumbered.
Let me tell you this. I did not realize this. You know, I am on so many sites on Facebook on missing kids in America, missing persons, unidentified people, you know, all this stuff. It will blow your mind of how many people go missing every single day in this country.
Yeah.
Then, if you want to make your head spin, look at the sex trafficking that's happening in your state, in your town. Like, I live in East Tennessee, okay? I live on a place that's I don't even know if it's on the map. Hell, I lived here my entire life and never heard of Fincastle. And it was, 30 miles away? Yeah, well, that's where I live. So, I live in this very, very small town. And where everybody here is redneck. Everybody knows everybody's shit. You know, you got crackheads that walk up and down the street. People with mental illness walk up and down the street. You know, and then you've got your neighbor. And my neighbors are wonderful. Love my neighbors, I do.
And everybody looks out for each other.
Yeah, everybody here looks out for each other. I don't live no subdivision or nothing like that. I live in a big old 1800 house. But I could not. It blew my mind how many sex offenders, for one, lived
in this
area. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then human trafficking, sex trafficking. I'm thinking Atlanta, Georgia, maybe Memphis on the other side of Tennessee.
Yeah.
Maybe Nashville because it's so big. Here? No. Oh, yeah. It's everywhere.
Yeah, and you notice when we were traveling the last time, when we'd stop at places, in the bathrooms, they'd have posters.
Yeah, they have posters. Yeah.
And you see it downtown Knoxville.
Yeah.
But you don't see it in the small towns.
Yeah, you know, we did have a thing when I was bartending, you know, and I actually told them, I was like, you know what, we need to post this on the bathroom. You know, you order a certain type of drink and we know to call somebody for you.
Yeah, I noticed that over there.
Yeah. And I think that's very important because usually if somebody is being kidnapped or something, the only way they can get away alone is usually to go to the restroom.
Yeah.
You know, and at least they'll know when they come out of there.
To order that drink.
Or at a restaurant, order a certain meal. Or, you know, set your straw a certain way. or flip a napkin a certain way. Something to let somebody know I need help without saying I need help. That's very, very important. I don't know how I got on all that, but anyway, I guess, the main thing is to be aware of your surroundings. You can look up, I know state of Tennessee has it under the TBI, but you can actually pull up and you can find out where the pedophiles live, where sex offenders live, etc. You'll be surprised on how many that are right next door to you, and you don't ever know. I know Tennessee has it. I'm sure other states have it as well. But sorry for the rant. That concludes today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please like, subscribe, share with your friends. Also, if you want some enlightenment in your life, head on out to Southern Soul Tribe off of YouTube. Jamie does that.
SoutheasternSoulTribe.com.
Yeah.
Or, I'm sorry, YouTube, Southeastern Soul Tribe.
Yeah. Where you will maybe learn a few things about yourself. This has been a Southern Sass production. And until next time, guys, avoid rest stops and be safe.
See you guys.